Hello my friends, and welcome to my final video of 2018, my final reading year in review type of video. I've already done my best books and my worst books of the year, and so I just kind of want to talk about some miscellaneous things, talk about just my reading this year in general. It's going to be very inspired by how Ariel Bissett does hers, and Lala from Books and Lala. Books and Lala does it with like a lot of stats, and Ariel just has fun categories, and I just kind of wanted to talk about my reading, how this reading year was for me. So let's start with some stats. This year, according to my Goodreads, I read 105 books. Now, that's a pretty decent amount. I'm gonna just go ahead and give myself that. A lot of people usually want to read about 100 books a year. I am not a person who sets goals. I don't care about numbers. Usually on Goodreads I set a random number like 42 just because I'm like, that's a good number, that's a number I like, that's a number that's going to signify this year, whatever. So I just pick a random number. This year though, I just set it to 1 because I like having it there to view. It's very convenient on Goodreads to have the challenge so you can see all the books you read that year and you don't have to make a separate like bookshelf for it. But I really did not want to stress myself out. I didn't care about how much I was reading because last year was an awful reading year for me. Like 105, that's kind of average for me. I usually read around that much in any given year, but last year I was going through a lot. Life was just very hectic. I was in the best mental state, so I really did not read that much at all. I say not that much. I honestly don't remember the exact number, but it was probably still a decent amount. It's just like nowhere near 105 like this year. Other stats. This year I read 11 2018 releases. This spanned all sorts of genres. I've never really made it a priority to only read books that came out that year. I kind of think I wanted to move away from that a little bit because I think I just get so caught up in hype and popular things that are coming out that I just forget about older books that I really want to read. 11, fun number. Now, just a random category thing that was very kind of important to me this year was the fact that I reread a lot of books. This year I reread 8 different books that I had read previous to this year, and that's really important to me because I used to be a person who used to reread books all the time. Like I would reread like the same book like 5 times in 1 year, and kind of when I started really getting into BookTube, I sort of stopped that because I fell so much into like consuming all these new stories and things that were hyped and popular. I just wanted to consume that, and I sort of just stopped rereading books for a while. I don't know, it was like a very weird thing where you feel like you can't reread because you need to be consuming new things. I will tell you which books they were that I reread this year. The books I reread this year were The Raven Boys by Maggie C. Butters. That, my opinion, changed drastically. I didn't really care for it the first time I read it this time. Loved it. I read A Wrinkle in Time. Did the movie come out this year? Was that this year? The beginning of this year seems like 25 years ago. I read that. It was one of my favorite children's classics, and I still loved it. Then I read The Wind in the Willows because I wanted to reread more children's classics that I loved growing up, and it was still really cute. I still really enjoyed it. Next I read Candide by Voltaire. This was a book I thought was like genius when I read it in like middle school because I was super nihilistic and I was like, and I want to reread it to see if I still thought it was genius. I don't think I enjoyed it as much, or I didn't think it was as like thought-provoking, but like it was still good. Next reread was Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. I just wanted to revisit this story just cause, and it's like a really boring, it's dumb, it doesn't even fucking follow Oliver Twist. I love Charles Dickens though. The next reread is The Catcher in the Rye, and that one was a hard one. I don't think I even gave it a rating this time because I couldn't tell how I felt about it. The first time I read it, I was like a young teen. I just was like, hell yeah, Holden Caulfield, yeah, I agree. And then, I don't know, I kind of thought he was annoying, but I think it's very interesting reading it as a teen and then as an adult in the different mindset and shit, because you're like, Holden, calm down. But when I was younger, I just kind of identified with him a lot more, so. My next reread was Flowers for Algernon by Danielle Keyes. This is my favorite book of all time, and I wanted to reread it because I hadn't reread it since I was in, like, high school, like, early high school, and I was like, I had this weird panic where I was like, what if I don't like it or something, and I wanted my brother to read it, so I was like, I'm gonna reread it, I'm gonna annotate my copy of it, and just see how, like, I still loved it. It was still so beautiful. I loved it. And my final reread was Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This is a Neil Gaiman that I know a lot of people don't really love, but it's one of my favorite Neil Gaimans I have read so far. I love it. It's so magical and fun, and Ooh, good shit. Some other fun categories are, I read 16 LGBTQIA plus books, books that had queer characters, were written by a queer author, just had a lot of queer rep going on, and that's something I do try really hard to pick up. I want to consume all of the queer lit I can. Going along with that, POC rep. I read 19 books with main characters that were a person of color, and were written by people of color. That's very important to me too. Own voices. Own voices. The majority of these books that fall in these categories are own voices. I generally stray away from these kinds of stories that aren't own voices unless I hear really, really amazing things about them from people I trust. So, okay, now we're gonna get into another fun one. My most read author this year. My most read author was Stephen King. Stephen King is one of my mother's favorite authors of all time, and he was always one I admired and looked up to. But randomly, midway through the year, I realized that I hadn't read basically any of his books previous to this year, but it always felt like I had because I grew up with my mother reading all of his books all the time, and I literally seen every single one of his adaptations ever. So, but this year I was like, I'm gonna remedy that. I'm gonna try to read. I think it was a Stephen King one a month, and I think I started this in June. And I think I nailed that. I read 12 of his novels, short stories, just lots of things. I will quickly tell you what those are. I read Carrie, The Body, that's one of my favorites. Storm of the Century, The Green Mile, another one of my favorites. Misery, another great one of my favorites. Wendy's Button Box, which he co-wrote with Richard Chizmar. That's how you say his name. Salem's Lot. Creepshow, which is one of his comic things. Elevation, which was his new short story novella that he released this year. The Mist, The Shining, which is phenomenal, and The Long Walk, which is a new favorite Stephen King story of mine. Now we're getting to the last two categories. This one is a really fun one for me. It is a new favorite author. This I have one honorable mention, and then I'll get to the main one. My honorable mention is Jeff Vandermeer. I read Born by him this year, and it blew my mind. The story was phenomenal, great. I loved it. But his writing was just so, so beautiful, and it literally has made me want to read everything he's ever written. I'm going to pick up Annihilation. I'm going to go buy a copy probably very, very soon. I heard the rest of the series isn't that great, but if the writing's great, I'm very, very keen to just keep reading it and just read everything he writes ever. A new favorite author of mine is Joe Hill. If you do not know who Joe Hill is, he is actually Stephen King's son. And because I was reading a lot of Stephen King this year, I want to delve into his son's books. And my mother has all of his books. And low-key, he is the better author. I think his writing is so much better, and his stories are just a lot more engaging. This year I read Nosferatu and Heart-Shaped Box. Now, these weren't favorite books. They didn't blow my mind. I liked this one a little bit more than I liked this one. But his writing was so good, and his stories are so weird and engaging, and I just loved them. And this is looks thick. They look pretty thick, but I get through them so quickly because you're just so engaging and fast paced, and I really, really loved it. So I have Horns, which is one of his very popular stories. 20th Century Ghost, which is a short story collection, and my mother also has The Fireman, but I didn't want to go get that. So super excited to read these in 2019. Hopefully I love them. Now my last category, the one we've all been waiting for, the best category, is my favorite covers, the most beautiful covers, the covers that just I want to have displayed on my shelves, that even if these books fucking sucked, I'm gonna keep them because they are beautiful, and I am an aesthetic piece of shit. So just have them all stacked there. I'm just gonna pull from it and go. Not gonna really tell you too much about it. Two Boys Kissing by Dylan, two boys kissing on the cover of a book. That's all I need. So I just dropped The Piece by Patty Yumi Cottrell. I just love this design. I don't know, it's very simple, but I think the dripping, I think it is very telling of this story, if that makes sense. I don't know, loved it. Next is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I recently was gifted this earlier this year, this edition. My original copy is a tiny little mass market paperback, and that's the one I originally read, but this is the one I read this year, and I think that's what made me love it more, because it has beautiful illustrations throughout, and just this is so beautiful. I love Chris Riddell's art style, and I just think this is beautiful. Our little child right here, oh, so cute. Next is The Prince and the Dressmaker. I just think this is so beautiful. Look at how fucking gorgeous our prints looks. These colors, love it. Next is Echo by Pam Yunez Ryan. This is so beautiful. It's stunning. I love the purple. I love the harmonica on the side. I just love this color scheme. I just love it so much. I also just, oh, this is beautiful. Phenomenal. Next, we're gonna talk about Emergency Contact. Yes, even though the book fucking sucked, it was awful. I love this light pink color. I love the gold detailing. Also, these illustrations are so beautiful. Her hair is beautiful. His tattoos, that, I don't know. I loved it. Also, like the spine is also that pink color. Beautiful. Next, my last two I'm gonna talk about real quick. Kind of follow a theme. We're gonna talk about, let's talk about Love by Claire Kahn. I love this. Can we please get more POC models on the cover of books? Please, I am begging you. Look at how beautiful she is. Look at that smile, her hair. Oh my god. And with the purple, this is stunning. I'm usually not a fan of covers with real life people on it, but no, this, give me more covers like this. I will buy them all. I don't even care what it's about. So good. Following that, I'm gonna throw in I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. Again, POC model on the cover, but also I love that it's black and white, and then the text in her little skirt and everything is in color, but that spine. Holy shit, why don't we get more cool designs and pretty patterns and shit on the spines of books? Because that's what you see on your bookshelves. And this, I want all of this. It's beautiful, gorgeous. Okay guys, that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has stumbled upon my channel, has subscribed, has watched the video, left a comment, like just anything. Thank you so much. I have always just wanted to start a booktube channel, YouTube channel, but I've never really felt confident enough, I guess. And then Kate sort of just was that driving force for me to do it. So thank you, Kate. Thank you for pushing me out of my comfort zone and allowing me to create this and meet cool people through it. So thank you all just for being here. And I'm sorry I probably will not be posting any videos for the first week and a half of January. I'm going to be out of state. I don't really know what the internet Wi-Fi sort of situation is going to be. But thank you for being here while you have been. I really, really appreciate you guys. In the comments, just tell me about any books you read this year. Anything. Just tell me about reading plans, and if you achieved any goals that you had set this year, any goals you want for next year, just talk to me, guys. I really, really like connecting with people here. You guys are all really, really cool. Thank you for watching. Alright. Bye!